You're listening to the Internet's home to eclectic blends of Christian music and powerful ministry programs. My name is Ken Davis, eclectic person. Lighten up and live. RacMan Christian Radio.
And now, another presentation from RacMan Christian Radio. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
What you're about to hear is an interview with the RacMan and Corey Brooks with Spoken For. This is a very intimate conversation about ministry and music. We start out with Corey explaining how he got started in Christian music. Here's Corey.
It's odd that we're starting to get radio airplay on like Christian rock and things like that, because when I first started in music, I got a record deal when I was 13, and it was to sing Christian country music, and that's not me at all. But anyways, it was the record deal, and that's what they wanted me to do, so I did it, and I was stuck in that for years. And God opened a lot of doors there. Like, we were able to minister to people. It was a good ministry and everything like that. There were huge doors and opportunities. But I was up for, when I was like 16 years old, I think I got nominated for a Dove Award, and I was just like blown away because, at 16 I was like, what is going on,
Mm-hmm.
Well, then a couple years later, I started really noticing I don't want to do Christian country music. I want to make that switch into contemporary. So we started trying to make that change, but we just kept running into blocks and things that were holding us back as far as the people we were working with, business-wise. So we decided 2 years ago to leave the record label that we were signed to, and we left on great terms. Everything was perfectly fine. They're amazing people, and we left on good terms. But we decided to open our own label and to produce our CD independently, or to work with whoever we wanted to work with. So this album, the album that I sent you the MP3s of, and Freedom to Move, these are all on the label that we opened 2 years ago, and it's one of those things to where the label was open for less than 6 months, and we got a letter from the Gospel Music Association saying that we were officially an approved record label through the Gospel Music Association, and that our artists could now be eligible for Dove Awards. And I'm sitting back going, how in the world does this happen?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been in music for years. Me and TK both have been involved in music for about 12 years, but we had always been on the other side, the songwriting, the performance side, and then making that switch into the business side and operating a label. We didn't expect things to grow as fast as they did, but it was. I mean, it has just taken off, and we've got some amazing artists on the label, and we're so excited to get their music out to radio. And I'm sitting back the same as you, like sitting there going, now how did this happen?
Mm-hmm. Why did you change your name then from CBB to Spoken For? Was that because you had gone out of the Christian country into your own label?
A big part of it was we had talked about changing the name for quite a while. I didn't really care too much if my name was on it, but when I was signed, first I was a solo artist. So to maintain that the radio traction that we already had in Christian country with the name Corey Brooks, we just had to add the name band onto it to keep up with the radio play. So then when we knew we were switching genres and labels and everything, we knew the door was wide open to change it to however we wanted. And I didn't want people to look up Corey Brooks Band and find old pictures of me in cowboy hats and hear country music and stuff like that, because that's not us.
Yeah, I can see that. Because when I saw that on your website, I was thinking they did country music. Now, I play country music. I've got country gospel. Man, I've got some deep southern fried gospel, okay? I'm playing Bill Gaither's Homecoming radio show on my network, okay? I know country, okay? I'm all for it. But I saw this. You went from country to what I'm going to hear now and what we're going to share with our audience. It's like, wow, how'd you jump the gap? And you explain that is that you had decided that that's what you needed to do at a young age, but you didn't really want to, but that was the door you had to walk through. And when you had the opportunity to walk away, you started what you believed was something you had a passion for. And the result, of course,
it became more hours.
Yes,
exactly. because we were able to oversee more of the production end.
Exactly. Of course, you took on more of the headaches too.
Oh yes, I'm like paperwork and contracts and everything.
I'm just going to say there's a talent that I hear, and vocally you guys are awesome, as well as musically you're doing a fantastic job. The first song I'd like to ask you about is "I'm Alive."
That song, it kind of it started a long time ago. Actually, we actually started doing that while we were still the Corey Brooks Band, and kind of working people into the transition we were coming into. So our audience, they knew it was coming. Like they knew that this change was in the works for quite a while. But we started performing that song, and there was, I think there was a rap in it, just like there is now, and everything like that. But the song, it was still taking shape in the studio. The thing I remember most about this song is our producer, who we brought in for this album, her name is Austin Hulsbeck, and phenomenal producer, and he works a lot. He was in a metal band before and was experienced with like the techno stuff, and we wanted him to really push us out of our comfort zone. So we had him come in, and one day he comes into the studio. He went home to clean up and everything. He comes back in and he was like, "I got an idea while I was in the shower." And he starts singing the very end of the song. You hear that chant where everybody says, "The death inside me shudders, my God leaves me with wonder," all of that stuff. And he wrote that last part of that song while he was in the shower while we were actually recording the song. And so it's interesting because I tell artists all the time, you think you have a song finished because we've been performing that song for months. But it's never truly finished until you get it recorded because there's always these ideas that come out. And being open to those ideas in the studio and that the flow of the thought process is always really interesting to me because you come up with some really, really creative things when you're in a studio staying there for days after days after days. Your mind just starts just naturally drifting to those things that are interesting and different. So we wanted to kick off the album with that song, with the orchestra, and to really let people know from the very get-go, this is unlike anything you've heard us do before.
When I feel like I am so worthless, a desert void and dry, you sink beneath my barren surface and pump the dead to life. My heart begins to pound like thunder, waking up the night, and all the death inside me shudders. It makes me come alive. I'm alive, alive in you. I've been rescued. I'm alive, alive in you. You set me free. I'm alive, alive in you. I've been rescued. I'm alive, alive in you. You set me free. When I feel like the war is over, Satan calls my name, and I become a captive soldier, marching at his pace. Then I hear your trumpet sounding victory, an everlasting cry, and all my sin becomes my history as you make me come alive. I'm alive, alive in you. I've been rescued. I'm alive, alive in you. You set me free. I'm alive, alive in you.
every day in a way that I convey your love, but it's enough to cover my faults. Bought with a price, nailed to the cross. I was tried, guilty, sentenced for life. Before the world could set the bell, you said name the price. I'll give my son, he'll give his life, so you, my child, can be alive. I'm alive, alive in you. I've been rescued. I'm alive, alive in you. You set me free. Come on. I'm alive, alive in you. I've been rescued. I'm alive, alive in you. You set me free. Death inside me shudders. My God leads me in wonder. My heart will pound like thunder. My God leads me in wonder.
You bring up something that I'd like to segue to, and it goes back to our discussion that we were talking about with Incubator. I don't think there's anything personally wrong with coming up with a song and sharing it right there and then on the spot. I think that has its place. But I like what you said, is that the song's not really complete until you record it. But in my experience for the past few years, I get the pleasure of having artists send me music that they're working on, and listening to some of the nuances or some of the things that are missing. And a lot of times you don't know what's missing until they actually rewrite the song.
Yep.
And it goes into what they call a final production. So they released the first one, but then they said, ooh, we have a better idea, and we put it out. There's an artist named Skylar Kalon, and she wrote one. I heard it. It was, her album was called La 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 La. It was the diary of a 16-year-old in love with Jesus. And every song was like that. But you could tell the artist grew up, because when she turned 18, 19, and she started looking at the music, she took that one song that was her favorite and had someone work on it. And it is it's the same song, but it's so completely different that you almost don't recognize it. It's almost like listening to something brand new.
Wow.
And I think that's it's interesting you mentioned that, is because you like the song you were using. It was all good in live performances, but it was something you had never really finalized. It was just one of those things you put in there as the mood fit, or you needed a song to fill in, so we're going to put this one in there. And your producer, while he's in the shower, comes up with the final touch and makes it what it is. That's cool. It was just that there was just that little missing piece, just that little piece of saying, what if we added this in here? So through the time, we would have different people come into the studio and record gang vocals with us, and we had a really, really fun time. Everybody just crowding into the around the mic and everything, just chanting that line. It was fun. So I'm going to ask a weird question. How does a Tennessee boy succeed in Tennessee? Well, actually, I'm from West Virginia. Maybe that's the answer. But, yes. Now, TK is from Tennessee. Uh-huh. So, no, so he'd have to answer that one, I guess. But yeah, I'm from West Virginia. I'm born here, grew up here, and I wanted to leave really bad. Couldn't wait to leave. And then I just got a little more involved with local ministry here and fell in love with the place and for what God has in store for Southern West Virginia. And I haven't been able to leave. It sounds like you've got your spot then, yes. And I like going out and doing ministry in other places, but there's something about knowing that you have some place to come home to with your family, with your home church that's supportive. I work with the youth group at my home church when I'm not on tour, and it's a really rewarding thing to be able to come home and still be involved in ministry and actively participating in the ministry in my own backyard. Yeah, I can understand that. Hey, this next song I'm going to ask you about, I'm going to read the lyrics here from Hope is Rising. I don't want to stand here waiting when a world is in need. The hurt cry out, the weak fall down, but I know that there is peace. I want to go forth proclaiming the greatness of our King, the life he has lived, the grace he gives, and the hope that is rising. What inspired you to pen that and put it to a song?
TK came up with the beginning of that song, and I remember it pretty clearly. He said, "I want to write a song, and I want it to be specifically for radio." And I said, "Well, you don't know if it's going to be for radio until you finish the song. Like, how can you know it's for radio?" He was like, "Because we're going to write it for radio." And he was just real confident in that fact. It's going to be written for radio. I said, "Well, okay, have at it." And I probably wasn't the most supportive because I was thinking, what if we write it and we know that it's not a radio song? So, anyways, he started writing it, and then we worked with a couple different co-writers on that song as well. Actually, are you familiar with Satellites and Sirens?
Yes, I am.
Jeff Hunker, he is the lead singer in Satellites and Sirens. He's one of our friends, and he co-wrote part of that song, and he actually was the head producer on that song in the studio. So anyway, so he was involved in the making of that song and everything. But that line, something that we have kept coming back to with our ministry, and I'll say this real quick: our ministry is really different, I think, from what a lot of other music ministries are, because when we go out to perform at almost any place that we're at, we end up sharing the gospel. Some places, when there's a music festival and they already have a preacher or speaker or something, then obviously we don't. But most places, especially if a youth group or something like that books us, they will have us come in and do the music, and I will preach. And so one of the things that we just kept coming back to is the importance of the Great Commission, because if we can go out and be gone for a couple weeks on a tour, and every single person that we come in contact with in a church, in a youth group, we can encourage them to find their place in the Great Commission, to do their part, I feel like we're accomplishing more in the long run, because we're being able to relay this message and encourage them to realize that they're supposed to be actively involved in this calling, that it's not a good suggestion, it's the Great Commission, it's what we're all supposed to be involved in. But people think that they have to go to China to be involved in it, or they have to to give up their regular job and be a full-time pastor to do it. And that's not the case. All we have to do is stop sitting around and waiting. We just see what's needed, and we get up and do it. So that's kind of the whole concept of that song, is encouraging people to do their part. And actually, while we were on tour, with the fall tour that we were on, we went out to Colorado and New Mexico and Texas and out that way for a couple weeks. We gave everybody in attendance at almost every place we were at a little postcard. And on the postcard it said, "I don't want to stand here waiting while the world is in need." And on the back side, we challenged them before the concert was over to write down something that they could do that they felt like God was putting on their hearts to impact the world for Christ. And that was their little challenge that they could take back to school and hang in their locker, or they could take to their office and put up in their cubicle, or whatever it was, because I'm really big into taking it beyond the music and making sure that people understand the message and the challenge that we're supposed to be giving them as ministers. So that's kind of the behind the scenes of that song. It was really interesting, and that song did go out on CCM radio last year.
I see a generation of a broken mess of love, fighting hard to find a cure. They're trapped in prison cells, boardrooms and cheap motels, locked behind an open door. Locked behind an open door. I can't watch this anymore. No, I won't watch this anymore. I don't wanna stand here waiting when the world is in need. The hurt cry out, the weak fall down, but I know that there is peace. I wanna go forth proclaiming the greatness of our King, the life He lived, the grace He gives, and that hope is rising. Yeah, hope is rising. I don't wanna waste one day knowing I can make a change and see the lost begin to see. See the lost begin to sing. And I can't watch this anymore. No, I won't watch this anymore. I don't wanna stand here waiting when the world is in need. The hurt cry out, the weak fall down, but I know that there is peace. I wanna go forth proclaiming the greatness of our King, the life He lived, the grace He gives, and that hope is rising. Yeah, hope is rising. There is hope. I will go to the world hears, to the world hears. There is hope. I will go till the whole world knows, till the whole world knows. I don't wanna stand here waiting when the world is in need. The hurt cry out, the weak fall down, but I know that there is peace. I wanna go forth proclaiming the greatness of our King, the life He lived, the grace He gives, and that hope is rising. Yeah, hope is rising.
Awesome. You guys, like I said, when I heard the songs, I was just amazed that there was, and then I was looking at your credentials. Come on, you studied contemporary music with a minor in film and Bible. You were destined to succeed, right?
we have really weird backgrounds, I guess, when it comes to this stuff, because TK studied at the Contemporary Music Center and majored in music, contemporary music and film at Bryan College, and then I did my associate's is in religion, and my bachelor's is actually in psychology, Christian counseling, which doesn't seem like it would have anything to do with music whatsoever. But you've met musicians. Musicians need counseling.
Yeah. Half your audience needs counseling.
Exactly, and I found out that I love counseling. I love talking to people. I love that side of things, and I believe that it's really important when you work with people, especially people in ministry, to have a psychology or a Christian counseling background at least, because it really helps you understand people better and how to talk to people when. After a concert, you have people that want to come up and pray or talk to you, and some of the things we've heard have just been completely heartbreaking, especially when we've done things with, we did a concert with Colton Dixon, and it was for foster kids and kids that were in orphanages and things like that, and it was one of the most heartbreaking things that we've ever participated in, but at the same time it was so rewarding, because to share with these kids who would come up and say that they had attempted to kill themselves, and that everybody left them and they didn't feel like anybody loved them, to talk to them about God's love and everything. It was one of the most rewarding things that we've ever been able to do. So I'm thankful for the different backgrounds that we have, because TK is heavily involved in the music production side of things, and then I've got the counseling side of things. So with the two of that together, we can tag team it. He can help musicians with the production, and I can hopefully try to keep everybody sane.
Good luck to that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, I picked this next song I'm going to ask you about because it's one of those things that is not like the other, and it's called Free Indeed. Now, the title is pretty self-explanatory, but the arrangement was different than anything else that I heard on the album. Tell me about this song and what it means.
The Bible says, "Who the Son sets free is free indeed," and a lot of times as Christians, I think we forget that. We tend to not forgive ourselves. We are easy to understand that God forgives us and that He loves us, but we look in the mirror and we haven't forgiven ourselves and we don't love ourselves. And so I think sometimes just that reminder, I'm washed by the blood of the Holy Lamb, I'm saved by the grace of the great I am, I'm free indeed, Lord, I'll sing I'm free. It's just that proclamation of saying, I know this is who I am in Christ, and there's something powerful about that. Now, you spoke about the arrangement of it. Funny story about the arrangement. I don't think I've ever shared this, at least publicly, so here you go. The producer our head producer wanted to change the arrangement that we had for it to make it a little more interesting. And so we said, okay, that's fine. So we go through the arrangement, and we're in pre-production trying to get everything lined out. And somewhere during this pre-production of this song, we left out the bridge. There's a bridge to this song. And we didn't even realize that we had left it out until after the song was already recorded. Like, we were out of the studio, we were done, and we're listening through, and we were like, we left the bridge out.
Only you create new days, breathing life into all you made. All creation longs to sing your praise. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. I once was lost, but now I'm found. All that is within my soul cries out, I am free, I am free, I am free, I am free. Only you can give new life, for on the cross a sacrifice, bearing all my sin, you bled and died. But all the grave it could not keep you, oh Lord, for victory overcame death's curse and set me free. I am free, I am free, yes I am free. Of the great I am, I'm free indeed. Lord, I'll sing, I'm changed by the power that defeated sin. I'm loved by the King who will come again. I'm free indeed. Lord, I'll sing, I'm washed by the blood of the Holy Lamb. I'm saved by the grace of the great I am. I'm free indeed. Lord, I'll sing, I'm changed by the power that defeated sin. I'm loved by the King who will come again. I'm free indeed. Lord, I'll sing, I'm
So apparently the song didn't need the bridge, but it was just the funniest thing because I don't know how we did it, but in the middle of all of the pre-production, we changed the outline of it and completely left the bridge out. So maybe that was God's way of saying it didn't need a bridge.
Hey, at least you didn't put something that didn't belong in there. The other day I was mixing in the radio spots for 20 The Countdown magazine, and I went, oh, that's right, I've got a spot for Bill Gaither's Homecoming Radio. It's on the weekend with the 20 The Countdown. This is awesome. I'll put it in there. I forgot it was the Christmas version.
Oh no.
I'm sitting here. One listener goes, I just heard a Christmas ad for Bill Gaither's Homecoming Radio. Good ad, but it's almost February, dude.
Oh, that is awesome.
I think. Well, I think what we could allude to is you guys are punchy about 2:00 in the morning, and you're like, okay, we're done. I need to get some rest before I come back at 7:00 in the morning.
Oh no,
I'm going home.
2 a.m. I think the best. 2 a.m. is my prime time.
Oh.
Especially when we were in the studio, we had some days we were there for. Man, I think sometimes a couple of us were in there for at least like 14 hours a day or more. It was definitely interesting. Thankfully, we had an apartment right across the street from the studio in Brentwood, Tennessee. So we were able to just drive right across the street and stay in the apartment the whole time we were recording. So that made it a little easier not to have to drive to a hotel or anything like that. But it was some of the hardest work that we've ever done, and I think part of that is because it was the first thing that we were doing as the label, and it meant so much to us because we were so involved with every aspect of it. And it was also, it's the biggest project that me or TK has ever worked on. Usually they were between 10 and 12 songs, and when we had the vision for this album, we wanted to make it as artistic and eclectic as possible. So there's spoken word tracks, there's orchestral stuff, there's an interlude, there's a mix of all different fields and genres. The artwork for the album is surreal art that an amazing graphic designer put together. Everything about it, we wanted it to be very artistic, and actually even a few of the tracks, like the filler tracks, are in Italian. Are written. The titles are in Italian and everything like that. So,
like the intro, Sorata di Apertura.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what that actually means is night of opening. And if you notice on the album cover, it says Hope is Rising, opening night.
Mm-hmm.
And that first track is Night of Opening, and that's an orchestra tuning. And the interesting thing about that, the whole concept, is that within the next few months, the plan is to release a deluxe album, and it will be called, I forgot what the title of it that we had, but it will probably also be, might be something in Italian as well. And it'll be a bonus edition, and there'll be a couple extra songs on there. For instance, we recorded a song in the studio that has not been released yet. So it will probably be on the deluxe version that should come out this spring. So the Hope is Rising album is actually going to be extended a little bit farther as we go through this year.
Well, the song I've been waiting to ask you about, this was the first song I came across, and I believe it was off of the NRT Toast.
Freedom to Move, right?
Uh-huh.
Promoter does a lot of the work. Chris Chicago, IPM or Shamrock Promotions.
Okay.
The interesting thing about that song, I told you it was just a digital release. We were singing the chorus of that song while we had been out on tour a year or two before that. Just the chorus, and it had a really worship feel to it. It was more like Chris Tomlin kind of thing. It was, we want to see a miracle, just like really mellow and everything, or slower. And I told TK, maybe we should work that back into our fall tour. I was like, let's think about that. And he said, well, I don't know. People have already heard it. We did the chorus of it already. I don't know. And I said, well, how about we see if we have time in the set list, and if so, we can work it in. So that was what the deal was. Well, one day he was at home in Tennessee, I was in West Virginia, and I was out to eat with some friends, and he was like, you need to listen to this voice memo. So then he sends me this memo, and it was him saying, so you remember that, how you said we should work in Freedom to Move back into our set? And I said that I didn't think we should because people already knew it. He was like, well, I just finished the song. And he completed the song while he was there in Tennessee that day, and sent it to me, and it was amazing.
Our hearts are heavy, Lord, hear our cry. No other name is greater. Oh Lord, we seek your favor, 'cause our hearts are heavy, Lord, hear our cry. 'Cause we can't make it on our own, so in you we place our hope. We wanna see a miracle. We wanna see your power shake this place. We are believing in you. We wanna see a miracle. There's power in your name. Lord, you have freedom. Lord, you have freedom to move. We stand and lift our hands, for you have a greater plan. Lord, let your kingdom come upon this earth. 'Cause we can't make it on our own, so in you we place our hope. We wanna see a miracle. We wanna see your power shake this place. We are believing in you. We wanna see a miracle. There's power in your name. Lord, you have freedom. Lord, you have freedom to move. Oh, Spirit, fall. Oh, Spirit, move. Oh, Spirit, come. Fill this room. Oh, Spirit, fall. Oh, Spirit, move. Oh, Spirit, come. Fill this room. Oh, Spirit, fall. Oh, Spirit, move. Oh, Spirit, come. Fill this room. Oh, Spirit, fall. Oh, Spirit, move. Oh, Spirit, come. Fill this room. We want a miracle. We want to see your power shake this place. We are believing. We are believing. We want to see a miracle. We want to see your power shake this place. We are believing. We are believing in you. We want to see a miracle. There's power in your name. Lord, you have freedom. Lord, you have freedom to move.
So we decided that while we were on tour for 3.5 weeks, that during the tour we would record the song and release it all while on tour. We had never done that before, and we really wanted that challenge to find ways and places to be able to record while we were out on the road. So in the middle of all this, we were supposed to be taking our motorhome on tour, and the motorhome broke down. We thought we had it fixed, and we were 45 minutes away from my house, and it broke down again. So the options were cancel the tour, or go home and load as much stuff as we could into my car and take my car across country. So we get home, we packed my car as full as we could get it, and drove all the way out to Colorado for our first show out there. And we couldn't bring our backdrops, we couldn't bring the lights for the backdrops. I mean, we had to leave so much stuff, but we packed as much as we could in my car and took off. And we took a really small recording setup, and when we got to Colorado, we started recording that song. And that song was recorded while on tour. The gang vocals that you hear in that, all of the kids singing, that was actually a praise band from all over the western slope of Colorado, out in Delta, Colorado area. That was a bunch of those kids. We showed up at their band practice and surprised them with the news that they were going to be singing on our single. So it was so much fun to record, and there were so many memories there because we weren't confined to a studio, and we had the opportunity to work with all of these kids. So it was one of the most fun songs we've ever recorded.
That is so cool. It starts out, you can feel it building, and then all of a sudden it just takes off. I cannot imagine that right now, not having heard the original, how that would be a Chris Tomlin. And
it was like that first song we talked about, I'm Alive, how it continued to grow as we were working on it. Like we were in the church, and TK started playing different guitar lines because he was like, maybe we should change this up some more. And then it ended up with that all that in there. Mm-hmm. It was all just growing as we went through the pre-production of the song in this little Nazarene church in Delta, Colorado. And the church was gracious enough to let us record there. And it ended up being a really good little makeshift studio.
Wow.
So that's kind of where we are now.
And what I pull from that is it doesn't matter where you are in life. And I like what you say about, in the concerts, you don't have to be a preacher. You don't have to be a singer on a stage. You don't have to be a radio DJ. You don't have to be anything but yourself, is
mm-hmm.
really what it comes down to. The vocation is what you do, but you are the one that is responsible to spread the message of Jesus Christ and the gospel message of his salvation. And that's what changes lives. That
exactly.
And your witness of what God does in your life every day. And your story talks about how you started out doing what you thought you wanted to do, even if it wasn't quite the direction you wanted to go. And today, several years later, you're actually in charge of that production, and because of your education and because your heart for ministry and people, you're actually not just producing music, you're ministering to people.
Yeah. But it's been a journey, it really has, because when I first started in music, I was actually really nervous. I'd get on stage and I was just terrified. I remember being like, I don't want to speak. I will sing, and that's it. Let somebody else do the speaking and all that stuff. I didn't want to do that. And it took a while, but God started bringing me around to the speaking side and really opened my mouth. And you wouldn't be able to tell it now, but I was actually on stage backwards. So now it's hard to get me to stand still when we're on stage. But anyways, it's been a journey. It really has been, and one that I'm realizing that God always. I'll put it this way. Sometimes we think, well, I'm called to music. Like, when I was 13, I answered the call to music. But I don't think that's the case now. I think I answered the call to ministry, and wherever that leads is what I do. There's been moments that we've started touring part-time instead of full-time, and I accepted a youth pastor position. There's been these things that have come up, and you go whatever direction it is that God takes you. For instance, starting the label, whatever it is, you walk into it, and we have a hard time doing that when we limit God's call to one certain thing. Instead of saying, I'm called to music or I'm called to preaching or whatever, we're called to ministry wherever that leads us. We do it.
Paraphrase the Apostle Paul, to spread the gospel by whatever means.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Corey, it's been a joy. If you had told me an hour ago, because I never know how a conversation's going to go, that we would come to this point after starting an hour ago, thank you very much.
So much. I look forward to hearing the MP3 of it, and just let me know when it's going to air and everything so I can let people know.
You got it, man. Thank you so much. God bless you.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.